He thought she vanished forever after that one night, until she returned with a gun pointed at his heart. The city never truly slept. It only pretended to. From 40 floors above the ground, Lucas stood alone in his office, watching rain slide down the glass walls like tears the city refused to acknowledge. Every light below represented a life moving forward, while his remained suspended in routine. Wealth, power, control. Everything a man could want, except peace. He left the building late, as always. The air outside was sharp, biting through his tailored coat. The street lights flickered as rain began to fall, soft at first, hesitant, then heavier, as if the sky had finally made a decision. Lucas took 2 steps toward his car. That was when it happened. Something cold, solid, unforgiving, pressed against his chest. A gun. Time didn't stop. It shattered. Lucas slowly lifted his eyes. The woman standing in front of him looked nothing like the criminals he'd seen in news reports. Her hands shook violently around the weapon, knuckles white with fear. Her clothes were soaked, clinging to her frame. Her eyes, bloodshot, exhausted, hollow, were filled with panic, not cruelty. "Give me your wallet," she said. Her voice trembled, as if the words themselves were cutting her throat. Lucas didn't move. He didn't raise his voice. He saw it instantly. This wasn't a woman choosing violence. This was a woman who had been cornered by life until fear became her only weapon. "Breathe," he said quietly. "Just breathe." That single word shattered her. Her shoulders collapsed, as if the strength holding her upright finally gave way. Her voice cracked as she spoke. Of a child lying too still in a hospital bed. Of machines that beeped like countdowns. Of doctors who avoided her eyes. Of bills she couldn't pay no matter how hard she worked. She said she had begged. She said she had borrowed. She said dignity stopped mattering when love was running out of time. Tonight wasn't about crime. It was about survival. Rain poured harder, washing over them both. She kept apologizing, over and over, saying she wasn't a bad person, saying she had never held a gun before, saying she hated herself for this moment more than he ever could. Lucas felt something shift inside his chest, something unfamiliar, something dangerous. He asked her to put the gun down. Her finger trembled on the trigger. For one breathless moment, the world balanced on the edge of disaster. Then, the gun slipped from her hand. It hit the wet pavement. And fate chose them both. The night didn't end with a gunshot. It ended with a promise, yet to be made. She expected punishment, but what she received was mercy. The sound of the gun hitting the ground echoed louder than thunder. Without it, the woman looked smaller, fragile, like someone who had been standing upright only through desperation. She staggered back, eyes wide, waiting for consequences. They never came. Instead, Lucas stood there, calm, unreadable, studying her as if trying to understand a language life had never taught him. "Why?" she demanded. "Why should I trust you?" Her laugh was bitter. Promises, she said, were lies dressed up as hope. Every promise she'd believed had failed her. Lucas met her gaze steadily. "I'm a man of my word." The sentence hung between them, quiet, dangerous, fragile. Her voice broke as she whispered her name. Susan Lee. Lucas didn't question it. He didn't doubt her. He simply turned to his assistant and gave a command that stunned the rain itself into silence. "Transfer everything, hospital bills, medication, surgery, no limits." When her phone vibrated, she froze. She stared at the screen, afraid it would vanish if she blinked. Numbers she had only seen in nightmares stared back at her. Paid. Covered. secured. Her knees nearly buckled. Tears poured down her face as relief, disbelief, and gratitude crashed into her all at once. She thanked him again and again, words tumbling over each other before fear returned. Hope was dangerous, so she ran. She disappeared into the rain before it could betray her again. Lucas stayed behind, soaked and unmoving. Her eyes wouldn't leave him. Her voice echoed in his mind. And then, memory struck. 5 years ago, a party filled with laughter and music. A woman whose smile felt both reckless and familiar. A night that blurred into morning. And an empty bed. No note, no name. Only silence. Lucas whispered into the rain, barely daring to think it. What if the child is mine? Some questions change everything the moment they're asked. The truth didn't arrive gently, it arrived like a verdict. Lucas didn't sleep. By morning, a thick file sat on his desk, heavy enough to crush illusions. Her name wasn't Susan. It was Eve Lee, an orphan. No family records, no safety net. 5 years ago, she had been young, lost, and alone when one reckless night altered her life forever. She'd gotten pregnant by a stranger and chosen to keep the child. She disappeared not out of selfishness, but fear. She survived college running on exhaustion and determination, raised her son alone, worked multiple jobs, loved fiercely, endured silently, until illness arrived. Hospital bills drained her savings. Hope followed. Pride dissolved under desperation. Robbing Lucas hadn't been greed. It had been love pushed beyond its breaking point. Lucas felt something collapse inside him. 5 years. One night. One child. The past hadn't been buried. It had been waiting. Lucas stood abruptly. Take me to the hospital. Now. The truth was no longer a theory. It was waiting in a hospital room. The moment he saw the child, his heart recognized what his mind feared. The hospital smelled of antiseptic and quiet despair. Eve sat beside a small bed, holding her son's tiny hand, whispering promises she didn't know how to keep. Her face was pale, her eyes hollow from sleepless nights. When she looked up and saw Lucas, fear struck instantly. Recognition followed, then shame. She told him everything, how she hadn't wanted to trap him, how disappearing felt kinder than forcing responsibility, how she never imagined fate would be cruel enough to bring him back like this. Lucas listened. No anger, only regret. He knelt beside the bed and gently took the boy's hand. The child's fingers curled around his instinctively. Lucas didn't need proof. In that moment, everything aligned. I'm not leaving again, Lucas whispered. But loving you will cost us everything. Love had reunited them, but the world was still watching. Their love survived fate, but could it survive the world? The cameras came without mercy. Headlines screamed. Judgment poured in. To protect him, Eve disappeared. But her absence nearly destroyed him. Eve didn't leave a note. She didn't make a call. She simply disappeared. Lucas searched everywhere. Hotels, shelters, hospitals, old addresses buried deep in the city's forgotten corners. His empire trembled as he neglected meetings, ignored shareholders, and cancelled deals worth billions. For the first time, the world watched a powerful man unravel. At night, Lucas returned to the empty penthouse. No laughter, no footsteps, no quiet humming drifting through the rooms. Only silence, heavy and accusing. He replayed every word he'd said to her. Loving you will cost us everything. Had that been a warning or a sentence? Meanwhile, Eve hid in a small coastal town, working under another name, keeping her son close, afraid that loving Lucas meant destroying him. Every headline hurt, every rumor cut deeper. She watched him from afar, breaking silently. Love had separated them, but fate wasn't finished. Someone knew their secret and planned to destroy them both. Lucas's assistant uncovered something disturbing. The leak hadn't been accidental. Someone inside Zenith Group had sold the story. A rival executive, hungry for power, saw Eve as weakness disguised as love. Threats began to arrive, anonymous messages, photos of Eve's hiding place, warnings carved in silence. Lucas realized the truth too late. Running hadn't protected her. It had exposed her. The danger was no longer emotional. It was deadly. He crossed the ocean for her, not knowing if he was already too late. Lucas found Eve standing by the sea, holding her son's hand as waves crashed violently behind them. She turned. Shock froze her. Anger followed, then tears. She accused him of ruining her quiet escape. He accused her of leaving him to drown in silence. Words collided. Pain surfaced. Love refused to stay buried. Their son watched them quietly, then spoke. "Why are you both crying?" That question shattered everything. Lucas knelt before the child and promised, out loud, that he would never disappear again. Eve didn't answer. She only cried. Reunion didn't mean forgiveness. To save her, he was willing to lose everything. The rival executive made his final move. A scandal manufactured, evidence forged. Lucas was framed. Stock prices crashed overnight. The board turned on him. To protect Eve and their son, Lucas resigned publicly, taking the blame, sacrificing his name, his empire, his legacy. The world believed he had fallen. Only Eve knew the truth. She watched him walk away from power without regret. For her, for their child, love had cost him everything, or so the world believed. When the power disappeared, only love remained. Lucas moved into a modest home. No assistants, no chauffeurs, no armor of wealth. Just him. Eve saw the man beneath the empire for the first time. The quiet patience, the gentleness, the way he listened. They argued. They healed. They learned each other slowly. Love wasn't dramatic now. It was real. But peace never lasts forever.